today we're going to be speaking about how walking barefoot will change your life. Yeah, really? How? So let's look at this. Let's set the foundation clearly, yeah? Right? I know for a fact that you've gone outside before, and after feeling the sun or just breathing in the fresh air, you've consciously noticed that something feels different. And that something is your state of being, your state of mind, the place in which your energetic frequency is coming from. And so we look at it in that way, where this all comes down to energetic vibrations, which are radiating from us, our mood, our state of being, and our psychological outlook, our worldview. All of that correlates tightly. Now, walking barefoot alone, it's never one big change. It's never one big change, but it's 1,000 small, they're actually not small, but 1,000 adjustments that lead to a transition into a new frequency. That's what this is about. That's what this life is about. All of humanity. It all comes down to that. Not getting the lawyer status, not getting that beautiful lady, not having the dream drag drift in streetcar. Those are variables, sure, but what everything truly comes down to is the place in which we are, the place in which our state of being is. So, what walking barefoot does is directly lower our bodily inflammation. And when our body is less inflamed, odds are that our mind is going to have a little bit more space to see things clearly. What is inflammation, right? It's usually your body being overdone in some way, and therefore it has the reaction of inflammation. Inflammation is not bad. Inflammation is your body being wise, because your body, spirit, mind, it's all in symbiosis. And when your body creates a form of disease or any inflammation, that is actually the intelligence of wisdom, the creator, of God, of the universe, working through you. Because your body's immune system is so wise, so intelligent, that it creates that inflammation as a defense mechanism. So therefore, the inflammation itself is not the root, okay? But all that being said, when you walk barefoot and you're connected to the soil, the grass, the sand, or even you're in the water, sand on the bottom, I digress. When you connect yourself in this way to the universe, to the nature, you have more space within. You can almost, if you'll just watch it, you can see the state of your being actually shifting. Like, you can watch this stuff actually happen. But it requires a certain drive, a certain level of energy and commitment to actually observe the subtle or not so subtle once you get to a certain level. Those shifts. Because we're always in motion. The only constant is change. And you cannot step into the same river twice. You know, maybe it's the same physical location, yeah, but the water's always moving, and therefore it's not the same river. So, we look at this and we start to see how wise we are, right? And when I say that, there's also a devious aspect of what we are that blocks out that innate wisdom, right? And that's the ego defense mechanism. That's the psychological sense of Justin, me, or I. And all of the beliefs, the attachments, the specific perceptions and opinions that I have liked or disliked, attached or detached, or, loved or totally blocked myself off to via cognitive dissonance. So there's there's branches here, and things are constantly in motion, coming together. So we have to perceive holistically. And it will never be that, oh, step outside and don't change anything else. Walk barefoot and everything. It might be the seed that starts to get you in motion. Because when we're living in hell, we are stagnant. Hell is being stuck in the valley of egotistical emotion and thought. Like, that's really what hell is. Now, I'm not attacking you. Whether you believe we actually go to some place below or above, that's all for you. But you'll get to a certain point, inevitably, where you realize that, okay, if all we are is energy and we're constantly radiating a magnetic vibration, you'll inevitably get to a point where you start to see everything that drains you from your core, right? So let's say you're a battery, and batteries get charged, batteries get drained. And when we look at you, your battery is energy. Same with me. Our battery is energy. And therefore, one of the most fruitful things that you can ever do in your time here on this planet is to start to become more in tune with the nature, and therefore have a deeper, more precise, energetic understanding. Seeing clearly the fluctuations, the vibrations, feeling them, being open to them within your own relationship with yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, but also your interactions and your behavior in relationship to other beings, right? So if you're a battery, we see energy's the core, right? And then we look at the nature of energy, and the question naturally will arise, where am I wasting energy? Where are the most common and evident places in which my fuel source, my core, is being squandered or used inefficiently, right? And now you answer that question. So I'll answer the question for you. Sometimes I'll do that. And really, it comes down to a few pillars. See, I'm not going to label specific actions because I don't feel like attacking anyone. Like, if you're honest, if you're committed, you'll naturally understand what pillars lead to what specifics in your life. So therefore, I don't have to get too specific. But when you're over-consuming, whether it's food or whatever substance, overconsumption, numbing, which has an essence of avoidance or suppression. So whether it be a defense mechanism psychologically, where something is said to you and you immediately rationalize it or justify it without actually taking any time at all to truly just sit with what you just heard, that's a sign of a wasting of energy. If you're just continuously justifying, rationalizing in your relationship with others, in the conversations you have, someone says something, you rationalize, you justify. Now, there's many aspects here, right? Because I'm clearly speaking to you gently. Like, I'm doing this naturally, but through intention, through understanding. But point is, some people are not going to speak to you as gently as I am, right? And therefore, they're going to increase the likelihood that your ego defense mechanism psychologically rationalizes, suppresses, avoids, etc. So that being said, it might be easier, and that's why I'm so drawn to do the podcast, the YouTube, share what's on my heart, because I know that there's something that I'm meant to share, and maybe it's the way of sharing, right? Maybe it's a new style of understanding oneself, and therefore that energetic vibration, which is within me, radiates. And it might make it easier for you to get through the sludge, the part of you, the ego, the sense of self, the me, the I, which blocks off your capacity, your connection to abundance, intelligence, wisdom, the river of life. All those words I'm using interchangeably. So, right, how about this? How about after this video, potentially, a couple options, right? You could simply go outside for 5 minutes after this video, and whether your phone's in your pocket or inside, just don't use the phone. You just walk, get a little, move, wiggle, get the hips loose, move. Let yourself get loose. Do that for 5 minutes. Observe your state of being. And, if you want to reply, let me know the results or the outcome or what you observed. I'd like to hear it. But the bottom line is that it's never going to be one big change, and it will always be thousands of adjustments that lead to a more alignment. That's not a good phrase. Thousands of adjustments which lead to you becoming more aligned, more in balance, more in tune, more connected. And therefore, through all of that, you'll have a smoother and more sensitive ability to notice and observe energy. As your understanding of energy raises in quality, you'll start to become more aware of the ways in which you are your own worst enemy or nemesis. And as you as you seriously play the game. So game implies not serious, but serious implies commitment in a way. So I'm saying that the game is observing your moment-to-moment emotions and thinking and reactions, right? But where it must stay a game is if you notice the reactions, you're winning. Don't trick yourself into judging yourself for noticing your own movements. The judgment of your movements is the ego coming back in and obstructing the game. The game can only be done when the ego has become irrelevant, the sense of self, the me. When you have forgotten in that moment about the sense of self, then you're playing the game. And you cannot to play the game, we have to bring this gentle, natural flow into it, where just because you notice something, your initial reaction might be to judge what you noticed, but that's not at all it. You're doing beautiful work just solely by noticing. So when you drop the judgment, naturally you'll get to the insight. And the insight is going to, or rather the lesson will continuously be taught to you in different forms, in different seasons, in different structures of your life until you grasp the insight. But once you grasp the insight, you have the insight. And you won't lose the insight. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that you can't lose the insight. I'm saying you won't lose the insight because you see so clearly that there are ways of living. Yeah? And once you have an insight into the most natural, aligned way of living, there's no way that you'll ever go back. You might have moments where you want to go back. You might have moments where you're stuck in your ego, but the fact is that you can't go back. And I didn't make that up. That's just the fact. Now, don't believe me, right? When I say that's just the fact, like, I'm challenging you to see the fact yourself. I'm not saying, hey guys, I'm stating the fact, blindly believe me. That's not what I'm saying. But it is the fact. So go see if it's true yourself. Bottom line is, it's 1,000 small adjustments. Walking outside barefoot is one adjustment. It's gonna lower your body's inflammation. It may lead to more psychological space. And then you might clean up your life. You might become a bit more sharp, a bit less dull and mechanical and routine-like, right? People say, like, atomic habits. Nothing wrong. I'm not attacking James Clear. I'm just saying to live habitually and mechanically implies dullness. And there's a way to have structure in your life where it's loose, and that structure guides you. It gives you some nice perimeters, but the perimeters are not limiting. They're abundant perimeters. And the value in a loose structure is that it can be ever expansive. But habits, routine, they increase the likelihood that you may stagnate because you become mechanical. And the only way to truly be in hell is to be stuck in stagnation. I digress. That was pretty good. I think so. Nice. Okay. So, if you're on YouTube, let me know what was most valuable, please. Podcast, drop a rating, share it with a friend. Please, let's go. And free daily long-form writing. Subscribe in the description below. You'll also get a free 4-step video masterclass. Overcome stress, create confidence, become more aligned. I appreciate you. Truly do. I swear. Have a wonderful day. Let's go.